welcome to the channel. My name is Keisha and you're watching Size and Care Creations. On my channel, I'm sharing all of my sewing journey with you all. I want to thank Vanessa first and foremost because it was her comment in my last video that had me reconsider whether or not a pivot was actually going to be needed for these shorts. If you go back and review the last video, I told you all that I thought I was going to have to pivot with making these shorts based off the fabric width measurement and based off the size of my pattern. And it was Vanessa's comment that actually had me rethinking whether or not that pivot is actually needed. So what I remembered after I went back and read the instructions that I had failed to read before was that the shorts actually call for a 5/8 seam allowance, and because of that seam allowance measurement, I do believe I am able to continue making my shorts using my ankara fabric. So thank you again, Vanessa, for your comment and having me rethink that whole pivot process, because I was not looking forward to it, and I am now able to continue on the journey in making these shorts with my ankara fabric. So I also told you guys in the previous video that I had failed to read my instructions before I got started. Normally when I pick a pattern I want to make, I read all of what's on the envelope itself, so I know what the measurements are, what I should cut out, what sizes and things like that, and also what notions I need. And then after that I open it up and I go through the pattern layout. I read the instructions so that I have a better understanding of all I'm going to need as I'm making the particular garment. Well, for some reason I had a lot going on in the month of July. I failed to do that, and I opened up the pattern ready to start working on it and realized that I had not read the pattern instructions. I had not made any markings on my instructions like I typically do. So that made me pause also and kind of go back to the drawing board to make sure I fully understand what's needed to get these shorts done. So after I did go back and read the instructions, I decided I wanted to do things somewhat different with these shorts. Some things I hadn't done in a very long time, but some things I want to do a little differently. So I'm going to show you all right now all that I discovered that I wanted to do different, and as such, the things I will need to have ready to go as I'm working on my shorts. All right, so let's just take a look at what I have here as I'm going to be preparing for my sewing. I've got my bodkin here that I'm going to use to pull my elastic through the casing at the waistband or the waist of the shorts. I have my coordinating thread. I thought I had thread that matched this fabric here, but I did not, so I managed to pick some of this up in Walmart recently. I am going to be marking my seam allowance on my garment this go around. I don't always do that, but I used to do that a lot when I first started sewing to make sure I had, straight stitch lines. So I just feel like I want to just do that this go around, take my time and just, mark my seam allowances on my shorts, which is a 5/8 inch seam allowance. So I've got this here for that purpose. I've got my rotary cutter. Obviously, I'll need this to get my fabric cut. This is just a random pattern weight. I must have used this when I was trying to prepare myself to cut the pattern, to cut the fabric, but didn't get that far. And I have this tracing paper and my tracing wheel. I do have to trace fold lines on this pattern, as well as I think a line for the center front, and I'm going to be using this to make sure I trace those lines properly. Obviously I've got a pair of little these are embroidery scissors, I think they were called, but I got these to make my my marks for my notches. The instructions, after I read them, called for some basting, and I'm pretty excited to do the basting on these shorts because I made shorts once before and the fit wasn't exactly how I wanted them to be. So I think if I do some basting, I can also fit as I'm making them and make adjustments along the way. So I'm going to make sure I do some basting this go around in certain areas. And then I've got my washable purple Crayola marker that I will be using to do my pattern markings. Actually, I'm not even sure that I will need this because I'm not doing the pockets, and I don't know what other markings I would have needed this for, but nevertheless, I have it and I'm going to use it if I need to. And I always keep my heat erasable pens nearby. I mean, for making notes or writing or even using them on my fabric. So we'll see if I need to use these at all. But yeah, so I've got everything I need here ready to go. So here I am just measuring my grain line against the folded edge of the fabric, and I decided to do this because I just wanted to make sure that my grain lines were straight. I don't do this all the time, but rather than eyeballing it, I just decided to take my ruler and go ahead and do the simple measurements to make sure that the measurements are all consistent. So now I'm transferring my fold line pattern marking from the pattern onto the wrong side of the fabric pieces, and I am going to have to reposition this because the tracing paper was not long enough to span the entire length of the waistline. So I repositioned and I'm going to continue my tracing. And now I'm working on the two front pieces, and I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to measure the grain line, I'm going to cut out the fabric, and I am going to transfer my fold line from the pattern piece onto the fabric. Alright guys, so my pattern pieces are cut. I have my front cut and I have my back cut. I went ahead and kept the pattern pieces themselves attached to the fabric. That way if I have to go back and revisit anything, it's already in place. And I went ahead and made sure that I kept all of my transfers on the wrong side of the fabric. I was thinking whether or not I should have done that on the right or the wrong side, but at the end I just decided I would do it on the wrong side. And then because with ankara fabric both sides are typically, they look identical, I just used some painter's tape here to indicate this is the wrong side of the front piece, and there are two of those. Here we got the other label, right? Wrong side of the front. And I did the very same thing with the back. Wrong side of the back and wrong side of the back. So yeah, I think I am about ready to go ahead and get these sewn up. Hey guys, so it is in fact another day. I did not get anything done yesterday beyond me cutting out the fabric and just prepping that with my markings and all. So today, or this evening, I'm gonna spend about 1 hour and see how much I can get done in making these shorts in the hour that I'm gonna allow myself. So let's see what we do. I'm gonna go ahead and set my timer and get started. Okay guys, so I went ahead and decided to serge the edges of my shorts. All the raw edges have been serged. I did have a bit of a problem around the curve here, so for some reason the serger thread didn't really catch on the edge of my fabric here, so I think what I'll do is once I sew this up, I'll try to put my pinking shears here to create a clean edge here so that the shorts don't unravel in that area. So these are the two backs. I have two backs here, and I have two of my fronts here, and I did the same thing, went ahead and serged all my edges so I could have a clean raw edge on the inside of the fabric. All right, so I only spent an hour and maybe 15 minutes last night working on these shorts. And I want to honestly tell you, the last 15 minutes of this process really had a lot to do with me trying to figure out this first picture here of the front and back, and then this second picture here where I'm being asked to stitch the crotch seam. For some reason, when I tried to follow this illustration for instruction number 1, where I'm being asked to stitch the front to the back at the inner leg edge, which I think would have been the inner seam, for some reason it just didn't work out well at all. And I even went to work on the second instruction, and this layout here, which looks like the this is in fact the wrong side of the fabric, it just wasn't working out, and I'm not understanding the notches here, the lines. It didn't make sense. So I totally scratched instructions 1 and 2. I had a basting stitch going down the inseam, the inner leg, and I took that out. I'm glad I did a basting stitch and not a regular stitch, because I would have been sitting here trying to pick out the stitches and it would take me a lot longer. So I did take those out, and I'm going to do this the way I know that it should be done based off my research on constructing just a simple pair of shorts. So honestly guys, I started measuring out my seam allowance to make sure that I had straight stitch lines, but I desperately wanted to get these shorts done, so I quickly kind of like did away with this measurement. It was just taking me a little bit longer than what I really wanted to spend in getting these shorts done. So I did make sure that I kept my sides pinned together at the legs, just to keep it straight and keep it nice and neat. This fabric was kind of stiff, so it probably would not have shifted much under the machine needle, but I just went ahead and did my pins anyway. And I'm really trying to remember the importance it is to pin within the seam allowance. Pinning outside the seam allowance, you kind of get this risk of putting holes in your precious fabrics. So I'm going to go back, as you can see, just try to reposition the pins in the seam allowance. Okay, so I went ahead and I have my front and my backs attached. I had a little malfunction around the inseam earlier, where I mistakenly sewed the inseams together. Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking when I did that, but I mistakenly had sewn those together. Had to take those stitches out with my good old seam ripper. And that's what you guys saw me doing in the previous clip. So yeah, these shorts are just about done. So I've gone ahead and put my label in. Yay. And I'm going to go ahead and stitch right along this edge as close as I can without, coming onto the fabric itself, so I can create a casing for my elastic. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then I'm going to finish off the inseam where the crotch and all is, and finish up the legs, and these will be done. All right, guys, so my shorts are done. They are completely finished. This is the inside from the back, and I am very happy and I am very pleased with how they turned out. It turns out I did not have to go in and use my pinking shears as I thought I would around the crotch area, so that was a plus. I like not having to do that. And this would be the front from the inside. Again, I like how it turned out. I like how that turned out. And these are the shorts hanging up on my pants hanger. So I am going to wear these likely this weekend, so and I plan to post some pictures on my Instagram, so if you're interested in seeing how they look on the body, feel free to follow me over on Instagram. But yeah, I really like how these turned out, and I will say they were fairly easy to make. Like, seriously, once I ignored the illustrations and the instructions for instructions 1 and 2, it was pretty much like smooth sailing. And I will say I thought adding the 5 inches was going to be a lot, but I'm glad that I did add the 5 inches, because as you can see, once I add the 5 inches and I took the hem up to the 2 inches, I lost some of the length. And once I tried these on, I really did enjoy. I like the length of these shorts. I will say one thing. In the crotch or the back area, it is a little bit snug, just a tad bit snug, but it's not so bad that I can't wear them. So I do think if I make these again, I might have to drop the crotch and down a little bit, just to give me a little bit more room and space in that area. But again, they are not so bad that I cannot wear these, so they are going to get worn. As for my July sewing plans, I got 2 of the things done out of the 3. As you all may recall, I wanted to work on that McCall's, I forgot the pattern number, I think it's 8064. It was a sleeveless cardigan. I don't know how I feel about doing that right now. I think I need to just take a little bit of a mental break to decide what I want to do next, because I really do want to start working on more of my Make 9 board, because I'm a little ways halfway through the year, and I want to make sure that I can get all of my Make 9 stuff done. So we'll see what's next on the sewing table. But yeah, if you really enjoyed watching me get through these July plans, feel free to comment below, like this video, and don't forget to subscribe. Please subscribe, that way you are able to get all notifications when I'm posting new sewing content and things happening in my sewing room. So I want to thank you for watching, and until we come together again, take care and God bless.